I went away this weekend and I was at my aunt's house. And my aunt knows I know a lot about like old stuff. I'm a collector of a lot of just old things. She also knows I love old video games and stuff like that. So she's like, it seems like every time I'm at my aunt's house, she's always got something for me to check out that she like found in her attic or something. So anyway, she's like, hey, I have this old video game system. At least I have the box. I think the box is probably filled with books, maybe. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I bought it for the kids in the mid 80s when they moved into their house. She's like, it's been sitting in a closet underneath some blankets and games since that time. She's like, this hasn't been touched. I don't even know what's in it. I really think the box is probably filled with like old books. We probably threw away the system. She's like, why don't you go up in the attic or the closet and take it down and see what it is? She's like, because she wants to maybe sell it if it's worth something. And I'm like, okay, let me go check out what this thing is. So I go up in her attic and voila, it's a Commodore or in the closet, in the upstairs of her house, in the closet, and voila, it's a Commodore 64. I can see from the box right when I move the blankets. So I pull it down, and I'm going to show you pictures because I had to take pictures of me opening this thing because it's at my aunt's house, and I wanted to show like the first time it's been touched. All right, so I pull this thing down. It's a Commodore 64. The box is actually pretty heavy. So for those of you who don't know, the Commodore 64 was released in the early 80s, like 82, went for like 10 to 12 years. There are multiple versions of it. This is what I believe is the original version of the thing. She said she bought this in the early to mid 80s. Her kids used it a couple times. She said she put it away. Doesn't remember anything about it. She said she swore that she threw the system away and put a bunch of books in the box, and that was it. Just went untouched in a closet. So I pull the box down. You can see it right here. You can see the box. So the box is heavy, so there's definitely something in it. The first thing that I do is I kind of look around the box to see like what's going on here. There's a bunch of dust. You can see dust in the upper corner, like that's just from me pulling it down. Now it was under blankets and other games. There were board games and blankets on top of all of it. So it was like under stuff, but it was still really dusty. I mean, this thing has not been touched in forever, and that was super cool. Just knowing that this thing probably hasn't been touched in what 40, almost 40, like 35 years. Just crazy, right? Crazy stuff. So I get it. I pull it down. You can see here's the box. And so far, I'm like really happy. I told my aunt right away. I was like, look, I was like, just this box definitely has some value, even if that value is only like 30 bucks. I was like, this is a cool piece that someone like me would love to put in their office. Like I would display this box. Like it's super cool. It looks like the cover looks pretty good. There's some wear. You can see some wear here. I actually have a close up of the cover a little more. You can see like the dust line right here. But you can see some wear in the text, but this is 35 years old. That's pretty good. Like I can see it says Commodore 64 great. Like the picture is pretty darn clear. It actually looked, and I'm sure if I wipe that dust away, it's going to look like this is a pretty good piece, right? This is going to look nice. All right. So I'm turning the box around. I'm going to show you all the angles. So first of all, here's the very top of the box. This is the part that was a little disappointing. It's pretty destroyed. It actually looks like it had some water damage here at some point and was like stuck to something. It felt like it had been wet at some point and had been stuck to like a wall. Like I don't know what something could have gotten spilled in that closet and just stuck a bunch of stuff together, but it had been stuck to something at one time and this kind of destroyed the box. However, the front cover still looks really great and I love that. Even though this had some water damage here, I was pretty excited to still check it out. Like I can overlook this. It definitely brings down the value of the item a bunch. Here's the one side. Sides actually looked great. Everything looked great, but that one top. And yeah, you can see my dust lines up here. So you can see how much clearer this is going to be when you actually take just a paper towel and wipe it off, or a cloth, and just wipe off this layer of dust. It's pretty bright color. Like that's nice. But you can see the sides, pretty cool. check out the sides. Box looks good so far. Here's the other side. You can see that top where something happened. I mean, it looks like it got wet. It looks like I don't even know, an animal started to eat it maybe. I don't know what could have happened up there. And I mean, it was covered in the closet pretty decently. So who knows? But this is 30 some years old. She's not sure if like kids had touched it at some point. She has a bunch of grandkids. If they had messed with it, she isn't sure if it was moved around. She just knows it was put away and she hasn't seen it really. She found it not too long ago and just told me it was up there. She didn't bring it down or anything. She just told me it was up there to check it out. This is the other side, just so we can kind of see like what's on here. It's kind of funny. This side right here like shows the back of the system and the side of it, which is pretty neat. Yeah, pretty cool to do this. Check out. I was like coughing. It was like there was dust flying everywhere. This thing, and we're literally at my aunt's house. You can see like the floor. There's like my kids were playing Legos on the floor. There's like a Lego piece in one of these pictures, I think. Oh yeah, right here. There's like a piece of Lego right there on the floor. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Okay, so we get to open it up. Now, keep in mind, my aunt had said that she thought there were books in here for some. I don't know why she thought there were books in here, but she's like, I'm pretty sure I threw away the system and there were books. I opened up the box, and lo and behold, we got a Commodore 64 in here. And this is an original Commodore 64. So this isn't like there were several iterations of the Commodore 64. This is the original 64. Or at least I'm pretty sure this is the original. I tried to identify it and it came up as the original one. This is what I always pictured when I think of the Commodore 64. So when I was a little kid, my older cousin, different aunt, had one of these, and I just used to watch him play it forever. He'd play like Akari or Warriors, and I can't remember the games. Maybe it was Rambo, not Akari or Warriors. And I would just watch him play for hours and be in awe that he was playing this. And he was like 14. I was probably like 6. And he was like, no way, kid, you are not playing this thing. So I've always like had like this soft spot for the Commodore 64 where I always wanted to play it. My older cousin had it. I thought he was like my idol. He wouldn't let me play it because I was a little kid, and I get that. It's kind of funny. And it was like on his computer, so he didn't want me messing with it. But all right. So we open it up and voila, I see a Commodore 64. I'm like, this thing is cool. Let's see. Because what I'm really hoping is that there's like information, like some of the booklets, packets, maybe a poster. Like that's the stuff that I really love because that's the stuff people threw away. So that's what I'm looking for. I don't care about like these cables. I didn't even test it to see, like I don't even know how I could test it to see if it works. We don't have that kind of TV anymore to connect it. All right, so we open it up. We see a Commodore, but the fact that there's a 64 in here makes me think like, okay, she has something like a value right here. Because for collectors, even if this doesn't work, like we got a cool display piece. We got a box and we got a Commodore 64. Like this is pretty cool. All right, so I pull out the wires. Yeah, there's wires. These are like, I'm not super impressed by old wires. I like could care less. And for like these kind of systems, I don't care if they work. Like I'm not trying to get it to work. I can run emulators on the computer if I really want to play the games and even use like the same type of control, like exact controllers, like or my keyboard, which is what the Commodore 64 is, like for Ataris and stuff. I don't care about these wires because some of my old systems, like I have the wires and I'm just like, they're like taking up space. I don't care. But it is like part of it and it makes it complete. So that's cool. So she had the wires, which I thought was pretty neat. I pull out the Commodore 64. There are no directions, no posters, no pamphlets, nothing like that in the box. It's literally just, I mean, I shouldn't say just. It's the Commodore 64 and the plugs. So that's pretty cool. Like we do have that. We got a box and a Commodore. Like this is pretty cool. I pull it out. It's in pretty good condition, actually. There's dust on it. And you can tell like the plastic a little bit. Felt like it was, I don't know, if you have like old plastic things, plastic and rubber all like start to dry rot a little bit and like get a little like flaky. This was sort of like that, but it wasn't bad. This was not bad at all. It wasn't too bad, but it was getting there. Like I could tell like it almost seemed like it was kept somewhere damp, and she said it was in her closet the whole time. Her house doesn't have, I mean, she has a nice house. Like they don't have dampness in that room or anything like that. But yeah, this is the original Commodore 64. I got to hold it. I got to pick it up. Like it was good. I was pretty happy. Like here's the back of it where you'd plug everything in. You can see what it would look like. Plug in the games, controllers, and power source. So you know, she had everything for it, which was pretty cool. She had the plugs, she had the system. So pretty neat, pretty cool. I was excited to open it up. So that's it. That's the system. I believe those are all my picks, right? Oh no, here's the bottom of it too, so you can see like we got like the serial original stuff. But that's the system. System's in pretty good shape. Like it's in displayable shape, which I like. Like here's the front of the box again, like just so you can get a glimpse of how cool the box was. So I told her overall that what she had was a collectible item for old video game people like me. I told her I would personally like this, but I'm not like offering my aunt money for something like that. It just that would start to get like awkward and a little weird. I didn't want to do that. But I did want to tell her what she had. Um, I told her that it was really cool. I told her that because of the box, I said the box is cool, but because the box is destroyed here, that really decreases the value a lot, especially because this is the top of the box, not the bottom. So if someone wanted to display this like standing up, which is like how I like to display my boxes, um, you know, while this looks really cool and this bottom looks great, like when they display it up, like people are going to see that box. So you're almost going to want to display it like laying down, so you're not left with as many options. That definitely hurts the value of it. The fact that there's no manuals or anything, and I don't really know if the Commodore even came with many manuals, but back then in the 80s, everything came with like manuals and pamphlets and stuff. This just had the item itself. I told her that on the low end, what she had was probably worth around like $50, maybe even on the low end like $80. I told her a fair price for this, what she had for the box and the system was probably like $80 to $100. I see like really good quality ones going for much higher than that, but I saw like just the system selling for like $60, like just what she had as a system. And I see just the box for like 50. So I think she could get a good price. I told her like 80 to 100, 80 to 110 is about what she'd get. As she told me she'd take like $50 for it, which is pretty reasonable, especially if you're selling like off eBay. But yeah, it was pretty exciting, pretty cool, pretty random to just go to my aunt's house and get to open up a video game system that just hadn't been opened up for so many years and see what's in it and see what it looked like. It's like holding a piece of history. I told her, I was like, if you're not sure what to do with this, you have a nephew that would love a cool display piece like this and would actually, like, I'm looking at my office right now. I've got like, you know, my Nintendo and my other stuff. Like this would be a pretty cool piece. I never had this system. I never owned the Commodore 64, but I did get to watch my cousin play it a lot, and I had like a thing for it. Like I wanted it as a kid. I just never got it. So it's cool to see it. It was cool to open it up. Cool to check out like what people have. Like so many people have this stuff just like sitting somewhere in their closet, like unopened, just cool stuff like this. And that's rad. Like that's awesome. I love that. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed my unboxing, well, my pictures and my story of me unboxing a Commodore 64 this weekend. Later, everybody.